Welcome to the Unique Dog Experience. Today's segment is the science of canine behavior. To best illustrate the science of canine behavior, we're going to share a podcast called Dog Dish with Deborah, featuring premier dog trainer Deborah Rosen of Good Citizen Dog. To learn more about Deborah and her positive, reward-based training, visit goodcitizendog.com. That's goodcitizendog.com. Now, let's turn to the podcast Dog Dish with Deborah.
I'm Deborah Rosen. For the past 15 years, as founder and owner of Good Citizen Dog, I've been helping people by educating them about the science of canine behavior. What I'm going to do is help you create peaceful living with your dog.
Hi, I'm Dina, and I'm producing Dog Dish with Deborah. I'm here to help Deborah give you everything you need to have for peaceful living with your dog. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the basics of basic obedience.
That's right.
Excellent, Deborah. Why don't you get our folks going on what you mean by the basic of basic obedience?
Well, I think there are certain basics in any discipline. And I think with dog training, the thing that many average or typical dog owners fail to remember are some of the very, very basic tenets of the obedience training that we do. And those are preparation, timing, and consistency.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about preparation, what's involved with preparing for preparation?
Preparing for preparation? Say that 5 times fast, right?
I got that one right.
Yeah. So when you're preparing to go out, say, for example, on a walk, you want to take your treats with you. So you want to get your treat pouch. You want to get some what we call high value treats. And you want to be prepared to bring a dog that's maybe a little hungry, because hungry dogs will pay attention more if you've got food with you.
For the most part, I think that is so true. I know I pay better attention when I'm hungry and somebody has food leading me around.
Right. Yeah, me too.
They're not much different.
Me too. Never miss a meal. That's what I say.
That's right.
So when you go out and you're prepared and you're going to be taking a walk with your dog and you've got your treats, then you have what you need. If you're in the house, and I have many clients who are always complaining about their dog's behavior when people come to the door.
That's a big one.
Because the doorbell rings, the dog barks, the dog charges the door, the dog is now jumping and scratching everyone who comes in the door out of pure excitement and happiness. Yet it's unwanted behavior. So what I tell those people is, park your treat pouch right at the door at whatever piece of furniture happens to be there. Put a leash on your dog. Be prepared.
Be prepared so that you can instill proper behavior so your dog knows how to best greet guests that come over.
Right. And because dogs are so fast and their behaviors, especially the unwanted behaviors, they come out of nowhere. If you prepare yourself, if you put a leash on the dog, if you have your treats ready, if you have in your head what it is that you want to say to the dog, the things that you'd like the dog to do, then you'll have a much better chance of reinforcing the right behavior at the right time.
You know, one of the things I want to add real quick is to also have your guests be prepared. So you can get on the phone with them ahead of time, perhaps, and let them know what they should do when the dog comes over.
I love that, Dina. I want to just talk about very basic timing with respect to, for example, the deal at the door. So let's say the dog runs to greet someone at the door and jumps up on them. If you had been there to intercept that instead of having the dog jump up and getting the dog to sit down instead, I mean, that's really the kind of timing I was actually thinking of in this case. You have about a 3-second window, after which it's too late and don't bother doing anything.
Because you don't want to reinforce the negative behavior.
That's
you want to
right.
make sure you're capturing the positive behavior
That's
or
right.
interrupting the negative so that you can reinforce the positive.
That's exactly right. So timing is critical. And one of the things that I do a lot with my clients, and you know this, Dina, is I really educate them on how to reinforce the right behavior at the right time. Because it is easy, as you alluded to perhaps inadvertently reinforce the wrong behavior as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I think that's what a lot of people run into when they are trying to train their dog, is that they're remembering all the things the dog would never remember because we have a different brain than they do.
That's true.
So they're extraordinarily smart, but they're also a lot simpler and a lot quicker. And they forget more easily the things that they've just done than we do.
That's right. So that's all the more reason for having the right timing and making sure that when people come in the door, you're ready, you're prepared. And the second they sit after you ask them to sit, instead of jumping on your guests, that you're there to give them a treat, to reinforce or reward them for the thing that they've done correctly.
You know, the other thing that's interesting about timing is you could actually have the timing to not do anything when the dog is frothing at the door, other than to contain them and hold them back, and your guests come in and ignore the dog. And until the dog has calmed down in a few moments' time,
right,
then you can slowly interact so as not to rile the dog up again.
Right.
And that will also help the dog to not get so excited when somebody comes to the door.
And to your point, all the more reason to restrain it, to put a leash on it, to prevent it from getting too excited and then demonstrating those unwanted behaviors.
And a lot of times, too, folks will come over and encourage the dog not meaning to. And
right,
then they're encouraging all this jumping and this excitement and all the joy that the dog has, but they don't realize that now that dog has made that exact behavioral connection to that person and will continue to misbehave.
Sure. Don't you love those people who say, oh, it's okay, I don't mind. Oh, I let dogs jump on me all the time. I love dogs.
I like that until it's an old lady who says, and then the dog pushes them down and hurts them.
Or a baby.
Yep. Or a small child.
And I don't like it at all, actually. I usually try to say to folks, you may not mind, but there are other people who do. And we are really trying to get the dog to behave well. So please help us. And if you frame it that way, people are much more agreeable and try to help. And then I don't want to forget, Dina, there's one more thing that has to do with the basics of basic obedience. Mm-hmm. And that's consistency.
Oh, I could imagine that's very important.
Oh, beyond important. It's vital. And basically what I'm talking about here is this. If we are not consistent, say one person in the family says it's okay for the dogs to jump up on furniture, but another person says it's not okay. And so when person number 1 is home, the dogs are all over the furniture. But when person number 2 comes home, they shoo them off. What is the dog thinking at that point?
Confusion.
Complete confusion.
I don't understand. It was just fine a moment ago.
Right. Dogs don't get this. They cannot differentiate that way. They can differentiate between one piece of furniture and another, like one chair is their chair and all the rest are not. But if one person says you can do something and the other person says you cannot, they're just wondering. They're walking on eggshells, believe it or not.
I do believe it because I have a perfect example. My dog Breeze is a blue-nosed pit bull. She's 55 pounds and she's
adorable.
Love. She's a love. The problem that happens is that when she goes to work with Dad, she's with dudes all day and she jumps up and they rub her belly and they encourage this wonderful behavior.
They reinforce it.
Then when she comes home with me and we go to greet everybody, she wants to jump up on them. And I can't get her to stop until 2 or 3 days in. And especially with a dog whose nature is to jump up and to lick and to do these behaviors you don't want, so ingrained in their entire identity, it's very difficult to undo it. So I think one of the biggest things is consistency, and you're absolutely right.
That's right. Well, I think that we've covered the basics of basic obedience here, Dina, and I think that's it for today. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
For 15 years, Good Citizen Dog has been the premier destination for dog training. Good Citizen uses the most modern, positive, reward-based training techniques. Good Citizen Dog is creating peaceful living with your dog. For more information about services, go to goodcitizendog.com. That's citizen with a Z. Or call 855-936-3649. That's 855-936-3649.
Thank you for tuning in to the Unique Dog Experience. For all things Unique Dogs, visit uniquedogs.com. That's UNEEKDOGS.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and our podcast is available on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud.